Have you ever sat down at the end of the day, maybe in your favorite chair, and felt that quiet heaviness in your chest? Not pain, not anything dramatic, just a sense that your energy isn't what it used to be. You might brush it off as just getting older, but deep down there's a question that lingers. Is my heart still as strong as it should be? I've spoken to so many people in their 60s, 70s, even 80s who feel the same way. They're not necessarily sick, they're not in the hospital, but they don't feel as light, as energetic, or as confident in their health as they once did. And one of the most common reasons behind that quiet decline is something most people never see coming: your arteries slowly becoming clogged over time. Now that might sound scary, but I want you to hear this clearly. This is not a life sentence. Your body has an incredible ability to repair itself, even later in life. And one of the most powerful tools you have is something you use every single day: your food. But here's where most people get stuck. You've probably heard all kinds of advice. Go low carb. Try keto. Cut out meat. Go plant-based. It can feel overwhelming, even confusing. And the truth is, most of those diets fail not because they don't work, but because they're too hard to stick with. So instead of chasing the perfect diet, what actually works is something much simpler. Focus on the foods that consistently show up in real scientific studies. Foods that support your heart, reduce inflammation, and help your body clear out those dangerous plaques. Not perfectly, not all at once, just consistently. And today, I want to walk you through some of the most powerful foods that can help your arteries stay clean, flexible, and strong. These are not exotic ingredients. They're not expensive supplements. They're simple, everyday foods, if you know what to look for. Let's start with something that might already be sitting in your kitchen, or at least something you've seen 1,000 times and never thought twice about. Think about a fresh, ripe tomato. Bright red, juicy, maybe sliced on a sandwich or tossed into a salad. It doesn't seem like anything special, right? But inside that simple fruit is a compound called lycopene, and it's one of the most powerful natural protectors your arteries can have. Lycopene is what gives tomatoes, watermelon, and pink grapefruit their red color. But more importantly, it acts like a shield inside your body. One of the biggest reasons arteries get clogged in the first place is something called oxidative stress. That's when harmful molecules damage your blood vessels and make it easier for cholesterol to stick and form plaque. Lycopene helps neutralize that damage. It goes after those harmful molecules and reduces their impact before they can cause trouble. Over time, this can slow down the buildup inside your arteries and help keep your blood flowing more smoothly. And here's something most people don't realize. Cooked tomatoes, like tomato sauce or even a warm bowl of soup, can actually be even more effective than raw ones. So something as simple as adding a little tomato sauce to your meals a few times a week isn't just comforting, it's quietly helping your heart. Now let me ask you something. When was the last time you had a handful of nuts or seeds? Not the salted, sugary kind, just simple, natural ones. Maybe some almonds, or a sprinkle of sesame seeds, or even flaxseed in your oatmeal. These foods contain something called phytosterols. And while that might sound like a complicated word, the idea behind it is surprisingly simple. Phytosterols are plant compounds that look almost identical to cholesterol. And because of that, when you eat them, they actually compete with cholesterol in your digestive system. It's like they sneak in and take cholesterol's place, so less of it gets absorbed into your body. But here's the really interesting part. Your liver is always trying to keep your cholesterol levels balanced. So when less cholesterol is absorbed from your food, your liver responds by pulling more of it out of your bloodstream. And that means fewer of those harmful particles floating around that can stick to your artery walls. Over time, this process can make a real difference. Not overnight, not in a week, but gradually, steadily, in a way that your body can sustain. And the beauty of this is how easy it is to include. A small handful of nuts in the afternoon, a spoonful of flaxseed in your breakfast, adding beans or whole grains to your meals. These are small changes, but they add up in a powerful way. Now there's another group of compounds that I want you to think of as your arteries' calming agents. Because one of the biggest problems with plaque isn't just that it exists, it's that it becomes inflamed and unstable. That's what leads to serious events like heart attacks or strokes. These compounds are called flavonoids, and they're found in many foods you probably already enjoy. Berries, apples, oranges, even onions and leafy greens. And yes, even a bit of dark chocolate. Flavonoids work in a very unique way. Inside your arteries, when damage starts to happen, certain cells become sticky. They attract immune cells, which then trigger inflammation. It's like a small problem turning into a bigger one because the body overreacts. Flavonoids help calm that process down. They make your blood vessels less sticky, so fewer harmful interactions happen in the first place. They also help reduce inflammation, allowing your body to repair itself more gently and effectively. And one of my favorite examples is something many people already drink every day: tea. Green tea or black tea, especially when enjoyed regularly, has been linked to a lower risk of stroke. Just a few cups a day can support your circulation in a quiet but meaningful way. You don't have to overhaul your entire diet to benefit from this. Maybe you start your morning with a warm cup of tea instead of something sugary. Maybe you add a handful of berries to your breakfast. These small shifts begin to create a very different internal environment in your body, one that protects rather than damages. And as you begin to see how these foods work together, you might notice something important. This isn't about restriction, it's about addition. It's about giving your body the tools it needs to do what it was designed to do: heal, repair, and keep you moving forward with strength. Now, there's another food that keeps showing up again and again in studies, especially in people who live long, healthy lives with strong hearts. That food is something many people already have sitting right on their kitchen counter, often without giving it a second thought. I'm talking about extra virgin olive oil. Now, I know what you might be thinking. It's just oil. But this isn't just any oil. Extra virgin olive oil is one of the most studied foods in the world when it comes to heart health, and for good reason. It's rich in something called polyphenols, natural compounds that act as powerful antioxidants inside your body. And unlike many processed oils, it also contains healthy fats that your body actually needs. When your arteries begin to stiffen or become damaged, part of the problem is that the inner lining, the part that should be smooth and flexible, starts to lose its function. It becomes irritated, inflamed, and less able to regulate blood flow properly. Over time, that's when plaque begins to take hold more aggressively. Extra virgin olive oil helps calm that entire process. It reduces inflammation, supports that inner lining, and even improves how your body responds to insulin. And when your body handles blood sugar better, it reduces one of the silent drivers of artery damage. What's especially powerful about this is how easy it is to use. You don't need to change your entire diet overnight. You can simply start by replacing less healthy oils or butter with a drizzle of olive oil, maybe over your vegetables, maybe on a piece of whole grain bread, or even as part of a simple salad dressing. These small changes, repeated day after day, begin to create a protective effect that builds over time. And if there's one thing I've learned after years of talking to people about their health, it's this: consistency matters far more than perfection. Now let's talk about another food that often gets overlooked, especially in older generations who were told for years to avoid fats. That advice, while well-intentioned, caused a lot of confusion, because not all fats are the same. Fatty fish, like salmon, mackerel, or sardines, contain a special type of fat called omega-3 fatty acids. You may have heard of them before, but what you might not know is just how powerful they are when it comes to protecting your arteries. Inside your body, inflammation is one of the biggest contributors to plaque buildup. It's like a fire that keeps smoldering, slowly damaging your blood vessels over time. Omega-3s help put that fire out. They calm the immune response, reduce inflammation, and make plaques less likely to grow, or even rupture. And that last part is important, because often it's not just the presence of plaque that causes problems. It's when that plaque becomes unstable and breaks apart, leading to clots. Omega-3s help stabilize those areas, making your arteries safer and more resilient. There's also evidence that these fatty acids improve something called nitric oxide production. Now, you don't need to remember that term, but what it basically means is your blood vessels can relax more easily. And when your vessels are relaxed, your blood flows better, your blood pressure improves, and your heart doesn't have to work as hard. So how do you actually apply this in real life? It doesn't have to be complicated. Even eating fatty fish just once or twice a week can make a difference. Maybe a simple baked salmon for dinner, or adding sardines to a salad. It's not about being perfect, it's about creating a rhythm your body can rely on. And as you start bringing these foods into your routine, tomatoes, nuts and seeds, berries, olive oil, and fatty fish, you may begin to notice something subtle but important. You feel a little lighter, your energy becomes more steady, maybe you don't get as tired in the afternoon. These are small signals, but they matter. They're signs your body is responding. But there's another side to this conversation that we can't ignore. Because it's not just about what you add, it's also about what you quietly need to reduce. And this is where many people get tripped up, not because they're making bad choices on purpose, but because some foods are marketed in a way that makes them seem healthy, when they're actually doing the opposite. Let me give you a simple example. Flavored yogurt. It sounds healthy, right? It's often advertised as good for your gut, good for your bones, but if you turn that container around and look at the label, you might be surprised. Many of these yogurts are loaded with added sugars, sometimes as much as a dessert. And sugar, especially when consumed regularly, contributes to inflammation and can worsen the very processes that lead to plaque buildup. It spikes your blood sugar, stresses your system, and over time, damages your blood vessels in ways you don't immediately feel. A much better option is something simple: plain yogurt, no added sugars. And if you want a bit of sweetness, you can add your own fruit, maybe some berries, maybe a slice of banana. That way, you're getting fiber along with natural sweetness, which slows down how your body absorbs sugar. Another common trap is what I like to call healthy-looking snacks. Things like granola bars or breakfast bars. They often come in packages with words like natural, whole grain, or heart healthy. But when you look closely, many of them are still packed with sugars and processed ingredients. It's not that you can never have them, but it's important to be aware because these small daily choices can quietly add up over time. And then there's something many people drink every single morning without thinking twice: fruit juice, orange juice, apple juice, even those bottles that say 100% natural. Now, I'm not saying fruit is bad. Fresh fruit is wonderful, but juice is a different story. When you drink juice, you're getting a concentrated amount of sugar without the fiber that normally comes with whole fruit. That means your body absorbs it very quickly, leading to spikes in blood sugar. Over time, those spikes contribute to inflammation and can make it harder for your arteries to stay healthy. It's a subtle difference, but an important one. Eating an orange is very different from drinking a glass of orange juice. And as you start becoming more aware of these hidden sugar sources, you don't have to eliminate everything overnight. Just begin to notice. Begin to make small adjustments. Maybe you swap juice for whole fruit. Maybe you choose snacks that are less processed. These are gentle shifts, but they have a powerful effect over time. Now, here's something that often surprises people. Even if you eat all the right foods, there's still one piece of the puzzle that can dramatically accelerate how your body heals and repairs your arteries. It's not a medication. It's not expensive, but it does require a little effort. And it might change the way you think about movement altogether. Because when most people think about exercise, especially after 60, they imagine long walks, maybe a bit of stretching, keeping things gentle and safe. And don't get me wrong, walking is wonderful. It keeps you moving, it supports your joints, it helps your mood. But when it comes to actually improving the health of your arteries, there's something even more powerful that many people overlook. It's called interval training. You may have heard it described as HIIT, high-intensity interval training, but don't let the name intimidate you. This isn't about pushing yourself to exhaustion or doing anything extreme. It's about short bursts of slightly higher effort followed by rest. Think of it this way. Imagine you're out for a walk. Instead of walking at the same pace the entire time, you pick a short stretch, maybe 20 or 30 seconds, where you walk a bit faster. Not running, not straining, just a pace where you feel your heart working a little more. Then you slow back down and recover, and you repeat that a few times. That simple pattern, effort, rest, has a very unique effect on your body. Studies have shown that this type of movement can actually reduce the volume of plaque in your arteries over time. And what's fascinating is that in some research, the improvements seen after several months of this kind of training were comparable to what's observed with certain medications. Now, that doesn't mean exercise replaces medical treatment, but it does show just how powerful your body can be when you give it the right signals. When you move this way, your blood vessels expand and contract more dynamically. Your circulation improves. Your body produces more nitric oxide, which helps your arteries stay flexible and open. And perhaps most importantly, it helps calm inflammation, the very thing that drives plaque to grow in the first place. And the best part is, you can adapt this to your own level. If walking faster feels like too much, it could be climbing a few stairs a bit more briskly. It could be pedaling a stationary bike at a slightly higher pace for a short moment. The goal isn't intensity for the sake of intensity. It's creating gentle challenges that your body can rise to. What matters most is consistency. A few minutes of this kind of movement, done regularly, can create changes that build over weeks and months. And those changes aren't just happening in your muscles. They're happening deep inside your arteries, where it matters most. Now, as powerful as food and movement are, there's one more piece I want to share with you. Something that doesn't get talked about as often, but has some very interesting evidence behind it. It's a supplement called aged garlic extract. Now, I know garlic might not sound exciting. You might think of it as something you cook with, something that adds flavor to your meals. But when garlic is aged in a specific way, its compounds become more stable and concentrated, and researchers have been studying its effects on heart health for quite some time. In controlled studies, people who took aged garlic extract over the course of a year showed slower progression of plaque buildup in their arteries. In some cases, the plaques became more stable, which is incredibly important because stable plaques are less likely to cause sudden problems. It's also been linked to improvements in blood pressure, which is another key factor when it comes to protecting your heart. Now, this isn't something you have to rush out and buy immediately, and it's always a good idea to talk with your doctor before adding any supplement, especially if you're taking medications. But it's encouraging to know that there are natural options out there that may support what you're already doing with your food and your lifestyle. And as we bring all of this together, I want you to take a moment and think about something. You don't need to change everything at once. You don't need a perfect plan. You don't need to follow a strict diet that makes you feel deprived or overwhelmed. What you need are small, steady choices that your body can trust. Maybe it starts with adding more tomatoes or berries to your meals. Maybe you switch to extra virgin olive oil. Maybe you include fish once or twice a week. Maybe you take a walk and gently pick up your pace for a few seconds at a time. These are not dramatic changes, but they are meaningful ones. And over time, they begin to shift the environment inside your body, from one that allows damage to build to one that encourages healing. Because your body, even now, even after 60, 70, or beyond, still knows how to repair itself. It just needs the right support. So don't think of this as trying to fix everything overnight. Think of it as giving your body what it needs, day by day, meal by meal, step by step. If this message resonated with you, I'd love to hear from you. What's one small change you feel you can start today? Share it in the comments below, because your story might inspire someone else who's on the same journey. And if you found this helpful, take a moment to like the video and subscribe to the channel. There's so much more we can explore together. Simple, practical ways to help you feel stronger, more energetic, and more in control of your health. Because no matter your age, it's never too late to take care of your heart, and it's never too late to feel better than you did yesterday. Here's to your health, your strength, and the years ahead that are still yours to enjoy.